Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 102. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Jamie Mira, a speaker, a marketer, and a pioneer. By the age of 18, he turned around and built a successful digital media marketing agency called Inspired Brew Media. Hello Jamie.
Hey Patience, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
Thank you for coming. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business? Take us right up to the last job or business before you were online.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And again, I'm super appreciative to be here. So I guess I'll sort of start a little bit from the beginning because it goes back to my why and sort of why I started and how I started. So I started out at a young age, very depressed for a lot of different reasons. And entrepreneurship was sort of my escape for depression and a lot of the dark things that I was involved in. And because of mentors that I had in my life, they helped me start my first company, an actual LLC. It was called Void Longboards. It was a longboard company, a skateboard company. We built skateboards and longboards, and it was a manufacturing company. We built it out of a 2-car garage. It was really exciting, really cool. I worked at the age of 16. I worked at Chick-fil-A. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at Chick-fil-A and then at Lucas Oil Stadium, which is a football stadium, to make about $8,000 and invested all into this company in about an 8-month period of time. But long story short, that company failed. That didn't go anywhere, but I learned a lot. And I, as you guys know, you learn through trials and tribulations. And so I was able to learn some amazing information, amazing knowledge. But my mentors, they helped me sort of figure out what I was really best at, because Void Longboards, there's a lot of complex moving parts. There's marketing, there's manufacturing, there's product design, there's research and development. And I don't have all those skills. And I couldn't find a business partner that had those skills. And so my mentors, they said, hey, just focus on what you're best at. And so for me, that was marketing and social media and distribution, that sort of thing. And so I guess when I was 17, I started just doing marketing for a lot of different companies for free, actually, because I wanted to get market validation, because I was already young, so I already had a fresh perspective for social media, and I had built up like 200,000 followers on Twitter. So I had this skill, but I didn't really know if I could actually drive business. It's one thing to get reach for a company, but it's another thing to actually create sales and revenue. And so I wanted to get market validation, and so I worked for free for a couple companies to find out if I was good. All of those free gigs turned into high-paying gigs. Actually, even though I was still in high school, most of them offered me full-time jobs. We were going to craft it in a way that I could do everything that I was going to be doing when I got out of school. And so one thing led to another. One client, led to the next client, got bigger clients, just better myself. Every single day, I intentionally lived. I always grew. I always put myself in a position where I could grow and learn more so that I could apply it to my clients or to my business. At the same time, I was serving my clients and building my marketing agency. I was also building my personal brand. And I'm sure, as you guys know, personal branding helps extremely well with your business and with everything else that you're trying to do. So with building my personal brand and with building my agency, they sort of worked 2 and 2 together. And one thing led to the next, and now it's July of 2017, and now we're pretty solid marketing agency. We work with over 20 different companies. We're working with about 15 different companies right now, a couple startups. I'm thankful to be able to say that I've been able to grow a team and lead a team and teach them and educate them and empower them and inspire them, because for a long time it was just me. But now I actually have a team, so I'm very excited for what the future looks like.
Wow, what a journey, Jamie. You said you were depressed at a young age. How did you get over that and you went into business?
Yeah, great question. So oftentimes, because when you ask that question, I'm going to answer it with psychology and sort of really exactly how I was able to overcome depression. Because depression is it's a brain, it's warfare in the brain. So oftentimes when people are depressed, they want to escape reality. They want to stay in their room. They want to watch Netflix all day long. They want to play video games all day long. They don't want to go out. They don't want to see family. They just want to keep to themselves. And it's a very, very selfish lifestyle. And it's not, you can't look down upon someone who's depressed and they're selfish, because they could be on the brink of suicide. So they're doing everything they can to please themselves, whether it's eating a lot of food or playing their favorite video games all the time and never actually working, or taking drugs, doing anything that they can do to make themselves feel good to get through the next hour or through the next day. Well, I was in a very dark spot. I was in that position. I was getting into drugs and alcohol and all kinds of different things. And my therapist and my counselor, they noticed a lot of these things that was happening to me, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And they didn't. So to help me overcome depression, to help me get out of that situation part of my life, is they did not give me any medicines, or they did not give me a special kind of remedy or therapy. They had me basically do the exact opposite of what every single depressed person wants to do. They had me get super involved in reality. They had me get super involved in people's lives. They had me get super involved in my family's life. They had me serve at nonprofits. They had me serve at my school, serve at my church. They basically had me do every single thing that's humble and about humility and unselfish that's under the sun. And what that did was, I'm sure as you might know, but when you serve someone, when you help someone, when you make someone smile, when you help someone go in a better position, it releases a chemical called serotonin in your brain. And this chemical called serotonin, when it is triggered, it makes you feel significant. It makes you feel good as a human being. Well, depressed people, they have no self-worth. They have a lot of self-doubt. They don't have any hope or passion or purpose. They don't feel any significance. That's why they're depressed. That's why they end up killing themselves. Well, when you figure out how to release the chemical serotonin, that makes you feel significant, that makes you feel purpose, that gives you hope in life, helps you to overcome this lack of self-worth. And that's a very consistent thing. If you were to think to yourself, the last time you did something nice for someone, you felt really, really good. That's because there's a chemical called serotonin in your brain. Well, I became addicted to this for two reasons. I became addicted to the feeling of releasing the chemical serotonin in my brain, aka serving people, for two reasons. Number one, it got me out of depression because it was no longer about what can I do for Jeremy to help myself. It was no longer about what's the next drug I can take to get me through the weekend, or what's the next thing about me. I transitioned and I switched to what can I do for other people, because that actually gives me real fulfillment. And so I became addicted to it, became addicted to serving because it got me out of depression, and I became addicted to serving and loving people because it just feels good. And so I asked myself, and by the way, this transition probably over the period of like 8 months. It's not overnight. I mean, it's a very long, hard transition to come to a part of life where you're truly depressed and you just hate life to life is amazing and I'm really thankful to be here. And so I asked myself, and I asked my mentors, I was like, okay, well, I need to serve people and love people and care for people for the rest of my life. How do I do that? And they asked me to really think about, how I could do that, because it's one thing to have a goal in your life or a dream, but it's another thing to know how to get there. And so I looked at all the people in my life who I admired, who I thought were successful. And when I say successful, I mean they were happy, they were joyful, they had peace, and they were serving people. And consistently, what I saw, each one of these people in my life who were joyful and at peace and who served people, is they were an entrepreneur or a business owner of some kind. And so I asked myself, well, what is it about entrepreneurship that is giving these people purpose and passion and zeal for life and enabling them to just serve people on a daily basis? And so for like 3 months, I just researched entrepreneurship and business. And through my studying and through my research, I found entrepreneurship done right is just a way to serve people at a high level. And so I was like, okay, that's it. That's what I want to do. And, from there, with a lot of self-reflection, meditation, etc., I found out that I was going to start a longboard company. And then that goes into what I just told you a couple minutes ago.
Wow. Ooh, thank you for sharing the journey. I know you said you are doing what you are doing because it got you out of depression. Now you're out of depression, out of drugs. It's been a long time. You built your businesses, and also you go to outside your business and you had a power. But the main thing, why do you do what you do at such a young age?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, number one, because I have to now. Now that I've been given this dream, been given all this purpose, been given all this hope in life, I can't just sit back and just accept the status quo. Like, it's very hard for me to not be moving forward, to not be progressing, because I was once in a life that was just going completely downhill. And when you completely flip the switch 180 degrees where you're moving forward, you just don't want to stop. It's just this momentum is just so, it just gives you so much purpose in life. And so allowing me to be an entrepreneur and be able to empower people and inspire people and help people gives me a purpose purpose in life. It gives me a high in life that no drug could ever give me. And so whether it's addicting or whether it just makes me feel good or whether it's, just for me on like a selfish level, it feels good to see people message me like, hey, Jeremy, you inspire me, or hey, I heard your story and you helped me overcome this, or hey, Jeremy, I'm 19 years old and people told me all my life that I can't do it because I'm young, but you inspire me and I just started my business. Getting those kind of messages consistently is all validation. And whether it's a media feature or a message from someone or just someone pulling me aside and just saying, hey, thank you, you inspired one of my kids to go do this or get off the Xbox and go, educate themselves. It's all validation. And when I can see my hard work create results and create, help people be in better positions, it's just like, okay, it would be selfish for me to stop. So if I were to stop everything that I'm doing and just go watch TV all day long, I would feel really selfish because I knew what kind of problems I was helping or what kind of people I was helping when I was still progressing. So I can't stop this journey where I need to continue serving and helping and loving people because I see the impact that's making.
What would you tell other young entrepreneurs that are listening to this right now, the young people who are there, or even if it is not the young generation only, even adult can also benefit. If someone is really down there, really being depressed, don't know what to do, don't know where their life is going, what message do you have for them?
Right. Yeah. Okay. For sure. That's a great question. And so I'm gonna bring up a couple questions that I would ask to a young entrepreneur or just anyone. So my mentor Kenton Yowie, he taught me to focus on my strength. Oftentimes when there's a new entrepreneur, they just want to take over the world. They want to do all these things, all these ideas. And the reality is you will burn yourself out. You will become very busy and not productive, and you will get yourself in this system or cycle where you're not actually accomplishing anything. You're not actually doing anything. And so my mentor told me to, hey, just focus on one thing, get really good at that, and then move on to the next thing if you need to. So I would encourage young entrepreneurs, find out what you're best at. And when I say best, I mean being able to add the most value to people, because it's not about what makes you the happiest. It needs to be about, what are you doing for other people? Because, if you start a YouTube channel where you, talk about your favorite types of napkins or something, well, unless you can get sponsored by some kind of napkin company, that YouTube channel probably won't be able to do anything for other people. And yes, it could make you really happy, but if you spend all your time on that, that's not going to pay the bills, or that's not going to, actually, drive results for people. You need to focus on something that you're best at that can be used to help other people. My digital media agency was built out of a failed skateboard, longboard business. I'd really also encourage young entrepreneurs or people to who are starting out their journey to focus on being great at 3 things instead of being good at 10 things, because your potential and ability to execute will completely crash if you try to do everything. If you look at your computer right now and there's 14 tabs open, I can promise you right now, the last hour where you had 14 tabs open, you're just sort of all over the place, messaging a bunch of different random people, not really actually doing anything. Focus on one task at a time, check it off the list and move to the next thing. The other thing is, if you want to pursue entrepreneurship or you're already an entrepreneur and you're not really sure where to go, ask yourself these questions. And I talked about this in my Inc. magazine feature. What kind of problems do you want to solve in the world? Because the way economics works and the way entrepreneurship works, it's about solving problems. It's about adding value to people. And if you don't add value, if you don't solve problems, if you don't help other people, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. Momentum comes when value is added. The next question I always like to talk about is legacy. Building your legacy. You're building your legacy every single day, whether you like it or not, for the better or for the worse. And so you have to ask yourself, okay, what kind of reputation am I creating? What am I doing for other people? What kind of legacy do I want to leave for my children, for my grandchildren? What do I want to be remembered? Because when we die, which is inevitable, and whether you like it or not, it's going to happen sooner or later. That's just how life is. I would assume that you want to be remembered. I would assume that you don't just want to be forgotten. Well, you will be forgotten if you don't add value to anyone's life. But if you want to be remembered, if you want to leave a legacy, add value to people's life. Figure out how you can add value. I'd say the next question is, what do you actually want to accomplish in this short life? Life is truly short. I just graduated high school, and that is crazy to me. That is still blows my mind. Life just goes so fast. And ask yourself, what do you really want to accomplish? What do you really want to do? Do you want to start that business? Okay, then what do you need to do to start that business? Do you want to start that family and have these many kids? Okay, then are you looking for that significant other? Do you want to start that nonprofit, or do you want to do this for your community? Okay, well then what do you actually need to do to go do that thing? And then the next thing, sort of the last thing, I guess, is what do you love to do that adds value value to people? And that sort of goes to my first question. But I believe, and I know some people can, disagree or agree with this, but I believe you need to really enjoy what you're doing because, and you need to enjoy learning more. The reason why I've been able to grow so fast in the digital marketing space is because I love to learn more and I love to challenge myself. Well, if I were to think about, because I worked at a job, I worked at Chick-fil-A, and I didn't really like it. I mean, I've made Chick-fil-A sandwiches for 8 hours a day. Well, I didn't love it. I didn't love to challenge myself. So I just really, just made a Chick-fil-A sandwich or made, 300 Chick-fil-A sandwiches and then left my job. There was no growth because I didn't love it. I mean, I was just there to check off things to do. It was just sort of going through the motions. Well, entrepreneurship is not about going through the motions. You need to have processes and systems in place, but entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. It's a journey. You have ups and downs. It'll suck a lot. You'll get punched in the face. And if you don't love it, then you're going to quit. If you don't enjoy it, you're going to quit. So find something that can add value to others, that you enjoy what you're doing, or else you're going to quit because it's not an easy road. It's a very, very narrow and lonely road. So yeah, find something that, you really enjoy that you can, always challenge yourself and learn more.
Wow, thank you. Let's put money aside because you've been in the business and making this money and helping people. So let's put it aside. How did you know you are successful?
Well, good question. I haven't really been asked that. I mean, I personally don't see myself successful. That's completely what other people say. That's what magazine titles say, whatever. And the reason why I don't see myself successful and I never will is the same reason why I don't see myself as an expert and I never will consider myself an expert. Because if I start to think to myself, yeah, I'm successful, or yeah, I'm an expert, or yeah, I'm really good, look at me, then it's going to start me in this journey of ego and thinking to myself that I'm all that. Because when I start out my day, for me it's all about gratitude and humility. So I don't really consider myself successful, although the magazines and the radio shows and all the stuff that I've been thankful to be on, that's just validation to me. Because for someone who used to experience a lot of self-doubt, you still have these thoughts and words in your head that says negative things and that gives doubt. So being on a podcast like this or getting in a magazine or whatever, that is validation. It's like, okay, great, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. People are saying I'm doing a good job. Okay, great, keep moving forward. I don't even know all the magazines that I've been on because it just doesn't really, it's just not something that I focus on. Now, don't get me wrong, I do put it on social media and I put it out there and I run an ad on it on my public figure page because it's good for personal branding, but that's just not something that I focus on. But to answer your question, because I do want to answer your question, I'd say the one time which was sort of a defining moment for me was 2016, and I met an old friend. It was actually after a church service, and I knew that he was, and by the way, this was after I overcome depression and drugs and all that sort of thing. I knew that he was still in a life of drugs and depression, and his family was screwed up, and his dad would hit his mom, all just dark and evil things. I knew that he was in a very dark place. And so I was just sort of talking to him, seeing how he was doing. And then, he was asking me questions. Hey man, how you doing? Been seeing a lot of your stuff, yada, yada, yada. And whenever people ask about, what I'm doing or about my life or about my business, I get passionate. I get excited about it. And so I just started, sharing with him all the stuff that I'm excited about. I shared with him my vision and my goals and all the people that I'm helping and my team members, et cetera, et cetera. And that was really cool for him to see and hear. Well, later that night, I got a text message from him. And he said, hey man, I just want to let you know, later that night, I was planning on overdosing on heroin because his life was just completely screwed up. But he said, Jeremy, I knew where you were in your life before, and I see where you are now, and I see how excited you are in life, and I see how passionate you are, and I see all the hope and purpose. And man, I just want to let you know that you encouraged me to keep pushing forward. And I'll tell you, Patience, when he told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, I can never stop. As much as it's going to suck for me, this journey, building a business and that sort of thing, I can never, ever, ever stop. And so that was sort of a defining moment, like, wow, okay, I'm actually truly making an impact. Because for me, success is not about money. It's about, what you can do for others. That was when I was like, okay, if because of my journey, because of my story can actually save a life, then that's the ultimate, that's the ultimate goal. So that was probably a real defining moment for me in my life.
Don't you call that a success then?
Yeah, I guess you'd call that a success. Absolutely.
Yeah, because also from drugs, depression to building the company which didn't work, and then you moved on to sandwiches you didn't like, and now you are in a place where you are inspiring young generations to change themselves and move on to good things, what they like and what they can do to add value. I think in my way, and I don't know how you look at it, I think That is success.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Okay. Can anyone be an entrepreneur? I know you're a speaker. You are building this company, but can anyone be an entrepreneur, James?
Okay, yeah, great question. So there's a quote by Gerard Adams, which he is considered the millennial mentor. He created an online magazine and then sold it for $50 million, and he inspires entrepreneurs all over the world. There's a quote by him that I really like. It's not everyone can be an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur can come from anywhere. And what that means is it doesn't matter your background or your sex or your race or whatever. It does not matter. Now, unfortunately, how the world goes is some people have more privilege than others, and that's just stupid, and that's just how the world is. And it's really hard to fix that. But I believe that entrepreneur can come from any background, any race, sex, whatever. But I don't know if every single person can be an entrepreneur. And I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur, because how the economy stabilizes itself is there needs to be people who have jobs. There needs to be people to fix railroads and fix roads and all that kind of stuff. Now you can have an entrepreneurial mentality, and an entrepreneurial mentality is all about adding value to people. But if every single person in America or every single person in the world quit their job and started their own business, then the economy would fail. We have to have people, having a job. A lot of young entrepreneurs, they give people crap who have a quote unquote 9-to-5, or they give someone who has a job, they tell them, oh, you don't have a dream. I don't believe in that, because honestly, if there wasn't jobs, then an entrepreneur, you couldn't be an entrepreneur if people didn't do jobs that need to be done. And the reason so that's why I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur. The reason why I don't think everyone can be an entrepreneur is because the journey sucks. I mean, it's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's fun to travel the world and make money and inspire people and that sort of stuff, but you don't see the hard work and the trouble and the failures and the hardship the last 2 or 3 years that I've gone through, that every single entrepreneur has gone through. And not every single person can keep going, can keep pushing forward, because it's really, really hard. I don't think everyone in the world has the endurance and the stamina to be able to push through trials, to be able to push through negativity from your peers, to be able to, when people are saying that you can't do it, or people are saying that you're fake, or that, you can't be successful, you don't go to college, and consistently people are saying that, which does take a toll on a human. It's hard to still say, no, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to keep doing it. I don't think everyone can do it. So to answer your question is, I don't think everyone can be an entrepreneur. I think an entrepreneur can come from anywhere, but I really don't know if every single person can become an entrepreneur.
What is the most valuable thing your mentors has told you?
Wow, it's a great question. I mean, I'd like to say that I am not self-made. There's a magazine that was going to put me out, and the title is going to be Self-Made High School Entrepreneur. And I told them, do not use that title, because that is incorrect. The reason why I said it's incorrect is because I am a product of the people around me who have poured into me. I'm completely a product of my mentors around me. I would not be anywhere without mentors. I have asked my mentors for advice spiritually, socially, economically, all sorts of, all areas of life, and I've applied what they say. But man, I'd say the best advice that someone has given me is a great question. I would say the best advice that my mentor gave me was to focus on my strengths and to just be focused on being productive and not busy, because I used to be in this cycle where I was always doing different things. I was always trying to do more, take on more work. And the reality is I would work, quote unquote, for an entire day for, let's say, 15 hours. And at the end of the day, I look back and I'd be like, wait, I really actually didn't do anything. I was busy and I was talking to people and I was doing things, quote unquote, but I didn't actually do anything productive. And that's a very dangerous way to play, because time is not money. Time is so much more valuable than money. You can lose money all day long, you can make it back, but if you lose time, you can't get that back. And so when you're in this rut, or you're in this cycle or system of just busy, that's it, but you're not actually accomplishing anything, or not spending time with family, it's a very, very, very dangerous place to be in. And so when my mentor told me, hey, just like chill out, work smart, not just work hard. I think a lot of people, they think it's all about working hard. And yes, you do need to work hard, but you also need to work smart. You need to put systems and processes in place. You need to be able to learn how to schedule a calendar. You need to learn how to prioritize your time. Learning how to prioritize my time, schedule out my day, and focus on what was the best use of my time was probably the best advice or best mentorship I was ever given.
Wow. Okay. Tell us more about your Inspired Brew Media business.
Yeah, so it's a marketing agency. We focus on Facebook advertising, lead generation, marketing, campaign management, campaign amplification, that sort of thing. We recently pivoted. For about 2 years, it was just me. I was completely freelance and I created content for people. I managed all their social media. At one time, I was running over 35 social media accounts. I would, like I said, I create content for them. I do a lot of free consulting, that sort of thing. And that was not scalable. It was not best use of my time. It was very hard. It was very time enduring. Well, recently, with the mentorship of Dennis Yu, who I'm thankful to be able to say is a mentor, he told me that what I'm doing from a scaling standpoint, from a standpoint of building a team, training a team, and not making just about me, I'm not doing it right. And he was right. I didn't have any processes and systems in place. So now we have systems in Inspire Blue Media that's very automated. That's very good use for our time. So we are a marketing agency out of Indianapolis. We focus on amplifying campaigns on Facebook and Google specifically. We really are trying to move away from creating content. Now for special projects, we'll do video production because that is my background. That's video production, that sort of thing. That's something that I love to do. Actually, I'm about to go on a really, really big road trip. We're bringing a lot of video equipment because we're going to create a lot of cool videos. So we do create videos for companies, but on a special basis. We are partnered with a company called IDEAvize, which is actually a startup company that I'm a co-founder of. Very, very exciting project. IDEAvize is a workspace connector, if you will. It's a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs. There's an accelerator type place in it. There's a lot of education for young entrepreneurs with startup. And Inspire Blue Media is a partner of that to push the agenda and push the vision for IDEAvize. Inspire Blue Media is a really exciting project. I mean, that's most of my income. That's where most of my time goes. Now, that's something that I really, really love. I always encourage people to, get involved at some kind of job or some kind of business where you love to always grow and you always love to challenge yourself, because being in digital marketing, if you're not growing, if you're not always challenging yourself, then you're going to fall back, because that space, it's always moving forward. There's always things changing, and it's very, very exciting. One day, leads to the next. New platform comes out or a new update, and so there's always something more to learn, and so that's very exciting.
Wow. What is your type clientele? Do you take on new ones? Do you take the established ones? What is your specific? Are you into men only or women only? Because others, they put them in different categories. So what type of clientele do you have?
Yeah, great question. So in the beginning, which probably wasn't the best idea, I took on anyone who was going to hire me. Didn't care what industry you were, what size you were, where you were at in marketing. I just wanted the experience. Well, now that we pivoted, we really aren't industry specific necessarily, but we are specific on where the company is marketing wise. So we have a qualifying process to become a client, Inspire Blue Media, and it's very simple. It's not very rigorous. It's not very hard. But basically, if a client is able to give us what's called a GCT, goals, content, and targeting, then we are able to find out how we can help them out. So what that means is if a client is able to tell us exactly what their goals are and their expectations and what they're actually trying to accomplish, then we know that if it would be a good fit. If a client is wanting to, if a client is wanting to become the next Facebook, then we're probably not a good fit for them, because we aren't going to be able to help them become the next Facebook, because that's an extremely hard task. But if their goal is very doable, and we believe Inspire Blue Media, if we believe that we can help them with that goal, then okay, great, yeah, let's do it. It'll be a good fit. Now, not only do we need to know their goals, but they also need to have their content created. They need to have already have invested time creating content. We've had a lot of potential clients who come to us and say that they want to hire us, and we ask them, okay, what kind of content do you have? Do you have blogs? Do you have videos? Do you have education content, etc.? And they said that they had nothing. And so our response was, well, we really can't work with someone who has no content. So go, spend some money, go spend some time creating content, and then come back with us, because, the content is what we're going to be able to use to grow your agency. Because in 2017, if you don't have good, relevant content for your audience, then you're not going to do well on social media or digital media. And then the third part of that, so you have goals, you have content, then you have targeting. We work with our clients a little bit on this. We would like for them to really have, a good idea on this, but who are they actually trying to reach? If they say, everyone in the world, anyone who can use their app or anyone who can use their service, then that's not really very targeted, because we start narrow, we start niche with a client. Like, for example, there's a company that we're working for that I'm potentially going to become a content manager for them. It's called Snapshift. So it was a client for a while of Inspire Blue Media, and now it's moving to something a little more for me. Well, Snapshift is basically the Uber for shifts in the food and restaurant industry. Well, when they came to me, they knew that they were wanting to reach millennials who were working at restaurants and bars. And I was like, okay, great. That's a great place to start. We can work with that. But if I have a client who says, yeah, hey, anyone in the world who can take it, that's not very targeted from the beginning unless they have a very, very big budget. So we're willing to take on a client who is willing to work with us, who's willing to collaborate with us, who will take into discretion and take our suggestions and try to apply them, and who has a good start on their advertising. If they haven't done anything with advertising, they don't have any social media set up, then we're probably not a good fit, because we need to work with someone who already has their goals aligned, already has their content created, already has a website set up. We amplify the advertising and marketing for a company.
Where do we find you?
So you can find the company at inspiredbluemedia.com. But if you want to find me specifically, the best place to reach for me is on Twitter. And my Twitter handle is at Jeremy Miller with 2 J's. So at JJ Jeremy Miller. If you're wanting to find out how you can qualify as a client, if you go to our website and go to contact us, there's a form, a Google Docs form that you can fill out. It's like, just a couple questions that will put you in the process of being able to see if you can qualify to be a client for Inspired Blue Media.
Okay. So, clan, there will be more from Jamie in a moment. If you are finding Jamie's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Jamie's journey and you'll get lots of tips to help you. Doesn't matter where you are, if you are young, if you are old, whatever you are doing and starting, and you'll get more tips to help you with your own journey and business online. And don't forget, you can access all other online success interview podcasts on the site as well. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey, patience and journey.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.